Okay, today I've got with me John Dwyer. And John, I've got to say that I have been looking through your book here and I can't believe the things that you have done. Now, obviously, you're from the Institute of Wow. I have known of you for some time as, being associated with Jerry Seinfeld and the Greater Bank and things like that. I had no idea the things that you have done in your life, like absolutely blew me away. And today I wanted to talk about some of those things. So thank you so much for joining me. And I want to talk about all those things that you've done.
My pleasure, Lisa. And look, when you were born in the 1800s, you've got a lot more time to do all those things. So that's why I've been able to do them. Okay.
Oh my God, it blew me away. So tell me some of the things, tell everybody, just some of the things that you've done in your lifetime. Like, just where are you going to start?
Well, you see, my auntie, who was Mother Teresa, taught me to give. And so therefore, I live to give. And whilst whoever's watching this at the moment is pulling their two fingers out of their mouth. Lisa, look, I won't bore everyone with them, but I've been in the direct response marketing game for a long while and have certainly concentrated a lot of that time on real estate agents and helping real estate agents get appraisals and listings and stuff like that. So I know that's probably what your audience are more interested in hearing about. But yeah, throughout the time, I've had the good fortune of being able to put together marketing campaigns that included the likes of Jerry Seinfeld and Michael Jordan and Meat Loaf and Princess Di, would you believe? And a lot of these big names that I've been involved in. I guess, Lisa, I think you come from the same hymn book that I do, and that is you've just got to ask. I mean, a lot of people say to me, "How did you get to work for 3 years with Jerry Seinfeld on an advertising campaign?" And I say, look, there was a few bumps that we had to jump over, but seriously, these days, if you want to talk to Paul Hogan or you want to talk to Jerry Seinfeld, or you type into Google, how do I get to meet, or contact Paul Hogan? It'll come up and tell you. So there's no excuses for not asking anymore. Just ask.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So some of the things that you've done, okay, Disney. Tell me about Disney.
Look, with Disney, I used to take out the licenses for all of their movies. And so therefore, when I say take out the licenses, we would take out the license for bubblegum cards and for, posters and for booklets and all sorts of things that were related to children, of course. And we would market those through Kmart or Big W and the local corner store. And what happens is that you take out a license from Walt Disney to get the opportunity to print a Little Mermaid book or Lion King bubblegum cards or whatever it might be. And we do that throughout all of the big entertainment empires. So the DreamWorks, which was Spielberg, you do that with all of his movies, and Warner Brothers with Bugs Bunny and all the movies that they would do. So what we would do is called borrowing the equity of someone's IP. So someone's got a large intellectual property, whether it's a movie or it's an entertainment thing, you just pay them 10 or 12.5%, and then you're able to use their IP on all your books. And so, look, we did very well out of it. Disney, it's funny, Lisa, a lot of people say, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to work with Disney? And it was, but it sort of wasn't, despite the fact that Disney, they look wonderful and wholesome and very friendly on the outside. Once you get behind that curtain and you start dealing with, they are hard-nosed.
Of course. I mean, they're a business. Like some of the things that you were telling me, like you were going to have Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck in a helicopter or something, and they were like, no, you can't do that in case it crashes. And then you've killed, Donald and Mickey or whatever.
Lisa, it gets worse than that. I did it without asking. I actually was opening a shopping centre in Dubbo in New South Wales, and it was just pre-Christmas. So we had Mickey Mouse and Santa Claus arriving to cut the ribbon for the opening of the shopping centre by helicopter. And there was 10,000 people there, and the helicopter landed in a park, just away from the shopping centre. So there was no danger to any of the people. But guess what? Because that hit the front pages of all the local newspapers, Disney has a media tracking service. And of course, they saw the headlines, Mickey and Santa get out of the helicopter to cut the ribbon. And we had I was working for Woolworths at the time. It was a Woolworths shopping centre. Woolworths had a legal letter from Disney the next day to say, Mickey does not travel by helicopter. Can you imagine if that helicopter crashed, Mickey gets killed in a helicopter, our whole empire just dissolves. And when the boss did that and wrapped me over the knuckles, I said, it gets worse. I would have killed Santa Claus as well.
Oh, because Santa was in the plane. Oh my God. Well, I mean, you could have had them parachute out of it as well. That would have been worse. But okay, so I want to talk about some of the business strategies you had behind this, because we were talking the other day and you were saying about how you had the poster and you got that put in the newspaper. Tell me about that, because I like hearing about your brains about how you set things up and and then how it went from there. So tell me about that.
Look, I guess particularly for any real estate agent, the thing that you guys love about what you do is that you get a percentage of the success of what you may have sold. And I've found that over the years, it's really, really good if you actually can have a trailer commission. And so what I've tended to do over the years, if I took out the license for Jurassic Park, for example, I would produce a 16 or 20 page booklet with all the sticker spaces inside it. And I would use News Limited, Rupert Murdoch's papers, to give away the first couple of stickers. So he would advertise on TV to the tune of $300,000 or $400,000 from Thursday through to the Sunday to say, buy your Sunday Telegraph or buy your Sunday Mail if it was in Queensland. And you get two dinosaur stickers for free. And of course, the kids would get the 2 dinosaur stickers, which were just about useless to them unless they bought the $1.95 album. And they buy the album. They put the first 2 stickers in, number 2 and number 38, and then of course scream at mum to buy the paper every day for the next 3 weeks. Because if you bought the paper for three weeks, every day there's a coupon. Take the coupon with 50 cents, and we would make $500,000 in 4 weeks just out of dinosaur stickers. And we'd do the same thing with the Disney poster. We'd actually give the Disney poster away for $1.95, and it was a fantastic poster of all the characters coming down the street. And of course, with the newspaper on the Sunday, they got the first 2 stickers out of 100 for free, and they ended up sort of having to pay $200 to fill the whole poster with all the stickers.
Exactly. You're the one that being a parent, it's like the child wants it, and you do whatever you'd be on the phone. Have you got those other 2 stickers? Because my child wants it. Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
Oh well, look, every parent in the country hated my guts because I was putting their children onto a sticker drug habit. Yeah,
I know, but it also gave them something to do.
Yes,
like at least we've got something to do now. If we're bored.
Exactly.
All right. And so I was reading here about Leif Garrett. Tell us the Leif Garrett story. I used to love Leif Garrett. Oh my God.
It is only a certain number of people in a demographic of close to my age group would know who the hell Leif Garrett was. There he is. Okay. And just the Disney poster is next to it, is it? Oh no, that's the crowd.
No, that's the crowd at Leif. I would have been there if I could have.
You see, Lisa, you're talking to a complete idiot, and that's me, because I was only 21 or 22 at the time, and I worked for a shopping centre called Roselands in Sydney, which is like a big Westfield. And anyway, I was responsible for the marketing, which was ridiculous that they should let a 21-year-old loose with marketing.
Wow.
It was a big budget. So back in the day, Roselands, there was a show on TV called The Mike Walsh Show, which was a daytime show. And whoever Mike Walsh had on TV, we would have on stage at the shopping centre on the Thursday night, And it wouldn't matter whether it was Muhammad Ali or whether it was Cliff Richard or whoever it was. We had a deal with Channel 9 where those people would come and appear at what we called the Raindrop Fountain, which was their stage area. Yeah. So anyway, there was a record store there called Edels, which was like a sanity record store. And they knocked on my door up in the management office one day and said, we've got this pop star coming out called Leif Garrett. Typical bloke. I had no idea. He was like the David Cassidy of the time.
I know. He was there.
And I said, oh, yeah, righto. And they said, well, would you like to have him appear on stage? And I'm almost rude. I just said, oh, yeah, well, okay. Like, who the hell's Leif? So anyway, we put out on the radio stations and the newspapers, Leif Garrett was appearing at 6 p.m. On the stage at the Raindrop. Every girls' school, high school, closed at lunchtime because all the kids came, particularly females, because this guy was like David Cassidy and Elvis Presley. Anyway, so as it turned out, there were 15,000 schoolgirls crammed into this shopping centre. Now, this shows you how stupid I am. What I ended up doing is I thought the crowd needed to be hyped up, not. And so I decided before he came on stage to put his record on. And when they all pushed forward, thinking that they were going to get anywhere near him, the police wouldn't let him on the stage, by the way. It was Beatlemania multiplied by 10. They all moved forward, and as we had it's called Mildwesh, whatever it is, it's a fencing around the stage. These kids got their arms caught in the fencing and snapped. We had broken arms and legs everywhere. We had 11. Yeah, front page of the paper the next day, Roseland's disaster, 11 ambulances were called to take away the kids that were broken arms and broken legs. And I said to my boss at the time, well, any publicity is good publicity.
What they say?
As it turned out, you know what happened? Leif Garrett appeared almost like a papal balcony about 3 stories up. They brought him out on a balcony and he just waved to the crowd. He was seen for 30 seconds before the police said, get him in a helicopter and get him the hell out of here.
Gosh. And then, Stephen, you were saying
I think the police said, "Who's the idiot that put this on?" Oh, that would be me.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we're still talking about it all these years later, though. Okay. All
Sure.
right. The other things. Michael Jordan. Tell us about Michael Jordan, Lady Diana.
Yeah, look, and the quick story of that one is that I decided at one stage to produce a nice TV show because, and I'm being serious. I've got 6 children. They're grown up these days, but at the time they were younger. And I just got sick of seeing bad news on TV. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people. I'm sick of just seeing, kill, rape, maim, and destroy on TV every night,
Yes.
And so I pitched an idea to Channel 10. It was called Dreams Can Come True. And it was a show that would hopefully be inspirational to people to help other people. And we got Daryl Braithwaite, the former Sherbet singer, to be the host. And it was great. It was a showed on Sunday nights at 7:30 up against 60 Minutes. And we beat 60 Minutes in the ratings. And it was called Dreams Can Come True. And Daryl Braithwaite would invite people every week to write in for a dream, not for themselves, but for someone who was in need. And we built houses for people who didn't have a house. We got them to meet, superstars if that was their dream. And if they didn't have a car, we gave them a car. Or if they had a long lost relative from overseas, we'd fly them in. It was just a wonderful show. Yeah, we were Santa Claus. And the Michael Jordan thing came about because there was a parish priest in Gosford, New South Wales, who said to us, "Look, there's a little boy here who's about to sort of have his 15th birthday. And his name is Jay Campbell, and he tried to commit suicide recently because he suffers from spina bifida. He's in a wheelchair." And we thought, amongst all the thousands and thousands of letters that we would get, this one stood out. And all he wanted, because he played, he was in a wheelchair, but because life didn't look good for him, he decided to end it. Unfortunately, he wasn't successful in committing suicide. And some friends of his, encouraged him to take up wheelchair basketball. There was this little boy in a normal wheelchair, not a sports wheelchair, who became a member of the under-16 Australian wheelchair basketball side. And if they scored 50 points, he scored 40 of them. He was a genius at wheelchair basketball without a sports wheelchair. So cut a long story short, we told him that we fibbed, and we told him and his family that we're just doing an ABC documentary. His dream of all dreams was to just basically get an autograph from Michael Jordan, because obviously that was his hero. And this was the last year that Jordan was playing. So we arrived with a camera crew, and he thought that we were ABC, but we weren't, and we're doing a documentary. And as it turned out, he was in a team, and on that particular day in a big sports stadium in Canberra, they won 50-10 or something, and he scored 40 of the points. And at the end of the game, he was lined up in a row with all of his other players, and we just asked them to be there. And we had a camera crew come across with what they call a dolly track, a little like a railway track, and it stops in front of him. And the announcement from his coach was, we're all very, very proud to be here to see you people with a disability do so well in sport. But there's one particular little boy here today that has a dream, and that dream was to one day get an autograph from Michael Jordan. And you could see tears well up in his eyes. And we said, we've gone one step further. You're not just going to get an autograph with him, or you're jumping on a plane in 3 days' time to go to Chicago to have lunch with him.
That's so amazing.
The cameraman was crying. The thousands of people in the stadium were crying. And anyway, as it turned out, what I had done is I'd written to Michael Jordan's office, knowing that we probably had no chance at all.
Yeah.
What happened, Michael Jordan was walking past his fax machine in those days, and he told me the only reason this got through, he said, the guy upstairs must have been, giving you a big tick in the box, because he said, I only go to my office once every 3 or 4 weeks. I went there. I was walking past the fax machine, and I could hear the zit, 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 zit as the bit of paper was coming out. I picked it up and saw your story from Australia, and I said to my secretary, make this one happen.
Wow, how cool is that? That is so amazing. Wow. And what about Lady Diana?
Look, I'll make it quick, because I know you want to get to real estate, but very quickly with Lady Diana, Princess Diana. As it turned out, there was a little girl who lost her leg through cancer, unfortunately, and her family had written to us and said the same thing. Is there any chance she could get an autograph from Princess Di? Because she was only 12 and she lived for Princess Di. And so Daryl Braithwaite surprised her because I annoyed the crap out of Buckingham Palace. And Lisa, I think you come from the same school of thought, and that is persistence beats intelligence. So
yeah.
I would, email and fax, and I'd ring. I did everything I could. And I'll never forget, there was a lady who was her secretary, and she said to me, "Oh, John, you are rather persistent. I've spoken to the princess, and she's coming to Australia in 4 weeks' time, and you want her to meet this little girl, you know." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, we'll take the little girl wherever she's going, whatever official function she's at, we'll take the little girl to see her." "Yes," she said, "you are very persistent." Well, this stupid me at 1 o'clock in the morning, because of the time difference, I say to this woman, "Yes, we do have a motto in our business." She said, "Oh, rather, what would that be?" I said, "Never say die." Oh, God.
Oh,
And so therefore that was a bad joke, but not that it was meant as a joke, it just came out accidentally. So anyway, cut long story short, Princess Di said, yes, if you bring her to a Sun Herald luncheon, which is the newspaper luncheon in Sydney at the Opera House, then Princess Di will personally meet her.
wow.
Well, guess what happened? Not only did Princess Di sit down and meet her for a good 20 minutes, but every paparazzi member around the world went nuts with the photo. It was on the front page of the New York newspaper, the London newspaper, the Sydney newspaper. This
Wow.
little girl whose dream come true, a front page right around the world. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful
Is that
story.
Emma?
Yeah.
Emma?
Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And how do you feel being responsible for that? Like, that's pretty bloody cool.
I was, Lisa, and look, I'm Mr. Sarcastic, so I don't get too deep and meaningful too often, because that's not my personality. But I got to tell you, there was a lot of tears throughout the period of time that we put the show on, and it was just great. I mean, who doesn't want to be Santa Claus? It was just fantastic.
Exactly. And that's that Disney poster, isn't it?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, the black and white version, of
Yeah.
course, in color. You know what? Again, I'm showing off, but that was the first time ever that all the characters of Disney were in the
Yeah,
one
it's
poster.
amazing.
Yeah, and you know who we got an order for 6 of those posters from, and it was Walt Disney's daughter.
Really? Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. That's
yeah. So
incredible.
a couple of pages on from that, and if anybody wants to get the book, by the way, they can get it for free at jdwowbook.com. So if you go, John Dwyer's my name, so it's jdwowbook.com. You can knock
I'll
yourself
put a
out.
link as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got a nice surprise. There was that Disney have like Freako supporters more so than Star Wars. Yeah, people get dressed up in the Star Wars outfits.
Yes, of course.
Well, Disney has their own version of that, and it's called a Disney Anna convention. And as it turns out, there was a guy who sells a lot of books and posters and stuff who was a Disney freak, and he asked me if he could market our poster in his Disney Anna magazine. I said, "Oh, knock yourself out, go crazy." As it turns out, someone on his subscription list was actually Walt Disney's daughter. And she's since passed away, but nonetheless, she contacted him and said to him that this was the best Disney poster she has ever seen in her life, and this is Walt Disney's daughter. And could she buy 6 of them? I said, she's not buying them.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Like I said,
Yeah.
just the other day, I was just like, man, you've done so much. And I want to do some more of these too. I want to get into your brain about some of the other things you've done as well. Okay, let's move on to real estate. So you've come up with lots of different ways for real estate agents to grow their business, to get appraisals and all that sort of thing. So can we start with some of those as well?
Yeah, sure. Just to put context in that, Lisa, so that whoever's watching this has some idea who this idiot is that you're talking to. Again, my name is John Dwyer, but I get JD and other names. But my business is called the Institute of Wow. So the only reason I bring that up is not because I'm trying to flog anything to you. It's just that if you know that the company name is all about wow factor marketing, then what we're talking about here and what we've just talked about has some relevance.
Makes sense.
I have to say that with the real estate industry, I've spoken at quite a number of conventions, real estate conventions, and the Matt Steinweeds and Chris Gilmore's and others might be part of those things. And what I normally kick off with is just a bit of a wake-up call, if you like, for a lot of agents. And I will say, I'll throw up on the screen a picture of the cars outside the convention, and they're all real estate agent cars. So I would have Fred Nurks, www.frednurksrealestate.com, and then the mobile number. And I would say, do you ever pick up much business where someone pulls up at a set of traffic lights next to you and looks at it and goes, oh, a real estate agent, I think I'll take down his number, right? Or her number. No. And I said, look, I happen to have been lucky enough to work with Seinfeld for 3 years on a campaign. I got Seinfeld to be the spokesperson for a bank here in Australia. And so therefore I was backwards and forwards to New York doing all the TV commercials with Seinfeld. And when you get a big coup like that, then you milk the crap out of it for the rest of your career, which is what I've done. I think I've got signed. I asked Seinfeld on one occasion, he didn't have a website. He said, why do I need one? He said, I've looked at yours, JD. I'm on there more than you.
Exactly.
So
Love it.
look, I've milked the daylights out of that, as you would. But I'll say to the real estate agents, 200 might be in a room, guys and girls. Oh God, I sound like Tom Panos there. Guys and girls, anybody in the room here has sold a home within 30 days, and you know what? About 80% of the room puts their hand up. And I say, and then someone will, say to me, "Oh, yeah, but we don't do that all the time." I go, "I don't get Seinfeld every week either." Okay, but I milked the daylights out of it because I did get to work with him for 3 years. So if you've sold a home in 30 days, why is that not on your car?
Yeah.
And so, cut long story short, I then throw up an image on the, on the stage on the big screen that will show a real estate agent's car that used to say Fred Nurks, www.frednurks.com.au. Now it says, "Would you like to sell your home within 30 days?" Because I've done that. Okay, no guarantee you're going to continue to do it, but I've done that. And then you put your personal details. So therefore, if you are outside someone's home or you pull up at a set of traffic lights and someone was in the mindset of considering listing their home and they see a real estate agent that says, "Would you like to sell your home in 30 days? Because I've done that," I think you might knock on his door.
Yeah.
And so anyway, of course, as happens with a lot of these seminars, when I do this sort of stuff, 99.9% of people go, "Oh, JD, good idea. I'm going to do something about that." And then, of course, you hear crickets. There was an agent in Barossa Valley in South Australia, Mark Battersby, his name is, and just a dream client because I could tell him to jump off the Harbour Bridge and he'd probably do it.
Yeah.
And he actually did it. He actually rebranded all of his car and his agency with, "Would you like to sell your home in 30 days? Because I've done that." And he said, just by having the car parked outside the agency, he had people, just walk-ins, would you believe? And he said on one occasion, one guy said to the receptionist, "Could I speak to the guy that sells homes in 30 days, right?" And he comes out and he says, "Look, you got to understand, I can't guarantee that. I've sold some homes within 30 days. In fact, some of them within 10 days, but I can't guarantee." You know what the guy said to him? He said, "I don't care whether you've done it over and over and over again. The fact that you're creative with your advertising like that,
Exactly.
I want you marketing my home."
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. Okay, so anybody that's listening, we're going to see cars pop up everywhere with that written on it. Good.
But it is, I mean, look,
JD just wants a little percentage of any of the income coming in.
yeah, that'd be nice. In fact, I got to say this to you, Lisa, that I'm an idiot, a complete moron, because I should have over my career done door deals more often.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Barnes, because I've been involved in Parramatta Leagues and Panthers and some of the big leagues clubs and stuff, and I was responsible for putting the right entertainment on
Yeah, absolutely.
that brings poker machine players.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Barnes might charge, for argument's sake, 25 to 50 grand for a concert, depending upon who it is. But if I said to Jimmy Barnes, "Why don't you take the door?" He would normally say yes. And the reason he'd say yes is because he'd probably take 100 grand through the door. And so the club gets to fill the auditorium with poker machine players who have come to watch him first. They pay nothing, but he takes the door. And if he's a big enough name like John Farnham or someone like Jimmy Barnes, so therefore that model, we'd all love it to take a piece of the action, and real estate agents do. So I mean, you guys are smarter than me. I had a client called the Greater Building Society. They were a normal building society bank. I came up with an idea for them. Instead of marketing home loans on interest rates, why don't you give away a free holiday? So it was 9 words that they ran for 10 years. It was get a home loan and get a free holiday. And about halfway through that, Seinfeld came along. They took $15 billion worth of extra home loans in the first 2 years, sorry. I never got a percentage of that. I just got a consultancy fee. And I keep on saying that if only I was smart enough to say, just give me 0.0001% of any increase in home loans, I would have bought Fiji, not gone there.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you just didn't know, did you? But anyway, I mean, I guess that's doing business, isn't it? We learn. Now you can teach other people that. All right.
Yes.
And so what are some of the other things that you've done with real estate agents? Or what are some of the other things that you suggest?
Look, can I say this to you, Lisa? And I mean this in hopefully a nice way. I'm not wanting to insult anyone. It's just that if you're an agent and you're doing pretty much what most of the other agents are doing, and good on you. I mean, obviously there's a model there. Boy, oh boy, if you wanted to rocket fuel this and rocket fuel your appraisal stroke listings, there's so many other things that you could do. And the reason I feel, I guess quite qualified in saying this is because we've had lots of real estate agents come onto my marketing training program and so forth. And we've been able to give them what we would call, I guess, a wow factor idea or outside the box idea, which has just skyrocketed their appraisals. And you guys know that outside of referrals, the best thing you can do is get a bucket load of appraisals. So therefore you get listings. So it's appraisal centric. One idea is, I given to a bunch of agents, and those who have done it properly have just dined down on it. But those who don't do it properly, of course, it's under the bed with the upswing. And it came about because I had a Perth real estate agent on board, and his name was Rob, but he said to me, "Oh, JD, I want more appraisals." Well, of course. And I said to him, "Well, can you just tell me, out of every 10 appraisals, how many do you turn into listings?" And he said, "Oh, 2, 3 or 4. I said, "Well, let's go middle ground. And let's just say that on average, every 10 appraisals, you get 3 listings over the next 6 months." He goes, yeah, okay, righto. I said, righto, so you want more appraisals. How many appraisals do you do a month? And he said, 15 or 20. I said, okay, well, just if I put my maths hat on, if you got 1,000 appraisals a month, would that mean that you'd probably, get 300 listings? He goes, yeah, that would be right if only. I said, just give out 1,000 appraisals a month. He goes, what? I said, how big is your farm area? How many homes? And he said, oh, it was about 5,500. I said, good. Just give 5,500 appraisals every month, because you get 30% of them as listings. He went, are you insane? I said, no, not really. I think you are, because you're asking people, would they like an appraisal? That'd be like saying to my kids, would you like an ice cream? Right? Just give them the ice cream and they'll keep them quiet. All right. Not now, my kids are adults, but when they were young, if I asked them, would they like, no, just give them whatever you knew was a child pacifier, normally a Happy Meal.
Yes.
Anyway, he said, well, how does this work? I said, well, if I was a real estate agent, I would just be giving out the appraisals en masse, not asking, do they want one? He said, but how? I said, a thing called RP Data. You just go to RP Data's software program, which of course you all have, and you simply then have a check that looks like a DL brochure, but it looks like a Commonwealth Bank check. It's not called Commonwealth Bank, but it looks like a Commonwealth Bank check. And you actually write on that check, which you do with a script printing these days, but nonetheless, even handwrite on, get kids in after school or get Airtasker, do whatever you like. And you go through every street in your area. And maybe if your farm area is 5,000 homes, you don't need to just do 500 at a time. But the fact is that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Smith Street, Smithville, every single one of those houses would have a customised check from you on their doorstep with what RP Data says their home is worth. So they get home tonight and they look at the floor mat and go, hang on, what's this? They pick it up. There's a check there for $1.2 million that says this is what probably the minimum amount that your house will be worth. Give them the damn appraisal. Don't ask them, do they want one? And of course, on the flip side of that check is all your contact details to come in and do another appraisal.
And it looks amazing. I don't think I've got one. You haven't got one there, have you?
I don't have one. No, I don't have one handy. I thought I did. I should have been better prepared, shouldn't I?
Yeah, anyway, I'll put a photo. It looks amazing. Like it looks like a check, and then you've got your branding on it or whatever you have on there. And then, on the flip side, it's a really nice brochure about your company and all that sort of thing. And it's amazing. Yeah. So, I mean, you could use that, if you've got somebody specific target prospecting, you've got somebody that wants to live in a certain street, then you go up that street, a little cul-de-sac or whatever, or you can get them done en masse, as you said, if we can sort of scrape RP Data or whatever and get those printed out so it looks like a handwritten check. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I think it's incredible. And you put it under the door. It's something different that other agents are not doing.
But Lisa, the reason that some of these ideas, if I do say so myself, so good, is because they're things that have just been sitting there, but perhaps the light just hasn't come on. I don't think us humans are that much smarter than the monkeys, because seriously, we put man on the moon like 50-something years ago, but guess what? We only put red and green lights in the Westfield car park like only 3 or 4 years ago. So up until then, we just drove around with that little old lady that was trying to find a car. We'd follow her until she'd leave that space to put our car in there. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the car park people came up with the idea, let's just have green and red lights on the roof to tell you where the car spots are.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many things, isn't there? But no, I love that idea. And so what else? What else have you done with real estate agents?
Another one is an insured prize promotion. So therefore, we have an association with Lloyd's of London, a big insurance company, and we do a lot of the $1 million draws. And so therefore, it would be, I've had a resort in Fiji that was sitting on a 32% occupancy level because it was an older resort on the Coral Coast, so they weren't new. And travel agents tend to send their customers to Port Denaroo, the Hiltons, the Sheratons, all that sort of stuff. And so this particular resort was called the Hideaway Resort, and they engaged my services to help them fill rooms. And I said to them, okay, well, where do you get most of your business from? And despite the online world being what it is, where you can book direct, most of their business comes from the east coast of Australia, travel agents. I said, good. So we've got to turn on travel agents. So what we did is that we had $1 million draw for travel agents. We said, listen, for every night that you book someone into our resort rather than the Hilton, we will put you into a draw for $1 million. And you can imagine the real estate agents, when you walk in and said, look, I'm thinking about going to Fiji, they go, your Hideaway Resort. And you go, well, what about the Sofitel? No, rabies. Oh, okay, right. Well, what about the Hilton? Oh, hepatitis B. It's all over the shop. So therefore, all of the agents, because they didn't want to risk not being in the draw to win $1 million, they would put he went from 32% to 96% occupancy within 2 weeks. And it sat there for the entire 3 months of the promotion. And then at the end of the promotion, obviously, you drew out a real estate agent, and that real estate agent had an opportunity to win $1 million. And all that happens is that the real estate agent flies to his boardroom, and there's 200 envelopes on the table. One of those envelopes has the $1 million in it. The other 199 has a car or $10,000. And how it works is that Lloyd's of London provides you with the $1 million or $500,000 or $250,000 in return for a premium that's based on the chances of them losing that money. In a real estate instance, we've used it many times, and normally real estate agents are happy to maybe do a $250,000 prize, because $1 million will cost you about 15, 16 grand in premium. But $250,000 might cost you $4 or $5 grand in the premium. Okay, so you can say on the leaflets that you put into the letterboxes or on your Facebook advertising, you can say, listen, let me provide you with a valuation and an appraisal of your home, and you're going to be in the chance to win $250,000. And so therefore what would happen, of course, is someone who was sitting on the fence, oh, do I get an appraisal, do I don't, would all of a sudden go, why wouldn't I get an appraisal? I'm going to be in the draw to win $250,000.
How good is that? We need to do that. We need to do that. That's amazing. All right.
There was one. There was one in Toowoomba, real estate agent. They're very savvy, agent. They joined my program, got all these ideas, and I was there at the draw. And at the draw, they told me that their average listings went from, let's say, I think it was about a dozen a month, up to over 50. And it was purely and simply because people thought, why don't I get... Now, obviously, you pre-qualify the people who put their hand up because you don't want to have tire kickers. I understand that, but that's your job to pre-qualify them before you decide to go out and give the appraisal. If you don't give the appraisal, they're not in the draw, of course. But this is, really what I think you held the book up, Lisa. It's about avalanche leads. It's not leads. Yes. It's about excuse the language, but it's about getting a shitload of leads.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. All right. What else? I love picking your brain. I love hearing all your stories about what real estate agents do and just businesses in general. Like, when you say, that business there, they could increase turnover so much just by doing this. We don't think about those things a lot, like collecting a list and, loyalty cards and things like that. It's so important, isn't it? Okay, so what else have you got for us?
And look, you enjoy hearing about them, but I enjoy really showing off and patting myself on the back as well.
Yeah, well, so you should. You've done so much.
Gail, my wife, my long-suffering wife, has had to put up with all this shit for forever. So therefore, I never get to show off to her because she just rolls her eyes. She just rolls her eyes.
Again, that story again for the 500th time. That's all right. I'll listen to them.
It's funny though, Lisa. Well, a few people do every now and again compliment me on not so much the ideas, but the practicality of the ideas. Because everyone's got ideas, but there's a lot of shit ideas out there that have no logic behind them. Yeah. And the stuff that I normally put out there, there's maths and science behind the creativity. Okay?
Of course, and that's what I want to say. Okay, what you're talking about with the Disney poster or the poster, it's like getting that out for free, and then you're selling all the stickers. So it's like, and Murdoch is promoting your business. So thank you. He's just promoted your business and helped you make a hell of a lot of money. So it's the ideas that we come up with, and then it's executing them. But it's also the strategy of how you've done it all. That's what I love hearing. That fitted into that, and then that went to that. That's what I love hearing. Yeah,
I'm about to give you one, and you know what it is. So we're doing the drum roll to it, but I'm about to give you one which would, for any real estate agent that joins the dots on this one, this is the game changer. This is, if you think the check idea is good and you think the $1 million draw idea is good, and I think, we sell homes in 30 days, is good, all that sort of stuff, this is that multiplied by probably 50 in terms of the impact it could have on a real estate agent's income. But before I do that, let me just say this. As I said before, that, we put man on the moon 50 something years ago, but only put the, red and green lights in the Westfield car park in the last few years. The other thing is travel luggage. We only put wheels on our luggage around about a dozen or 15 years ago. And that came about from an American Airlines pilot got sick of dragging his luggage around airports after airports, went home in his garage and put wheels on his luggage, shut the gate, it's all over, And there'll be one day we're probably going to be talking about AI as if it was like an old-fashioned invention as well. But a lot of these ideas are not like AI. AI has like unbelievable technical skills behind it. Most of these ideas are just common sense on steroids. That's all they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Which leads me to this. This is the idea of all ideas. And if I was a real estate agent, I would be all over it. And what it is that throughout my career, I've found that the best way to get someone off the fence to do anything, to buy something or to enter a subscription program, to do anything, is to provide them with an incentive. Just give them a reason to get off that damn fence. And really, when you think about McDonald's, they've been doing that for 40 years with a product called a Happy Meal. And again, a father of 6 children who are all adults these days. So we've got grandchildren that are in the 3 and 4 or 5 years of age group. So now McDonald's are doing it to them. Yeah. And that is, they say, buy my Happy Meal and you get a free toy or free book, whatever it might be. And that is an incentive. Kellogg's have been doing it for about the same 40 or 50 years. And I know when I was a child, I would pester mum to get cornflakes because there was a Flintstones toy or something in there. That's exactly. That shows you my generation. And so therefore, Amazon do it these days because they say join the Prime membership club and you get free movies and you get free music and all sorts of other privileges. So I say to real estate agents, why don't you give someone something for free as an incentive for them to give you the opportunity to give them an appraisal? Because let's face it, really all agents do pretty much the same. If you look for Me Too industries, you're not going to find a Me Too industry more Me Too than real estate. Because basically it's let's put our photo on a brochure, send the brochure out and say, we've got buyers in your area. We'd like to find out what the latest home valuation. So let us give you a free appraisal, blah, blah, blah. Everyone does it, right?
Exactly. Boring.
So what happened is that a few years ago, a travel company contacted us after they saw the Jerry Seinfeld campaign with the Building Society, get a home loan, get a free holiday. And they said, we have access to all these unsold hotel rooms around the world. They're all 4-star resorts. So we're talking Novotels and Ridges and Holiday Inns. We're not talking Mount Druitt Caravan Park. Yeah. And so they said, look, we've got these access to all these unsold rooms because hotels in the 4-star category know that outside of school vacations, they've got about 30% of their rooms vacant every damn night. Every single night, 3 out of 10 rooms are vacant. For about 40 weeks of the year. Okay, they don't have empty rooms in Christmas, Easter, and school holidays, but outside of that, 30% of their hotel is sitting empty. So they are happy to give up those rooms as long as that's been given to people under the radar. That the general public doesn't see them dropping their pants. They're happy to give up those rooms for free because they're hoping to make money out of food and beverage. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And people who stay for free generally spend more money on breakfast and dinner and maybe massage by the pool and maybe room service. So therefore, they contacted me, this travel company, and said, look, we're a travel company. We've got access to all these hotel rooms, but we don't know what to do with them. Any chance you could maybe package up a deal whereby we can offer these to businesses as an incentive that they could use to encourage people to buy their products or services? I said, yeah, bingo, I love it. So I put this program together, which is basically that. And that is that we get these holiday vacations. We provide them to real estate agents. And what real estate agents do, and they get postcode exclusivity, by the way, so that makes a big difference. So there's no other agent can do it in your area. And they actually provide these holidays to people when they get an appraisal. So therefore, the letterbox brochure now and the Facebook campaign says, let us provide you with a free home appraisal and we'll give you a free holiday. And the holidays are 3 to 7 nights all over Australia, Cairns and Brisbane, the Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, all those sorts of places. New Zealand, Bali, Fiji, Hawaii, America, Las Vegas, New York, Europe, worldwide. So you're giving someone something that's worth up to $1,000 and we provide them to real estate agents for less than $50. So therefore this voucher, the real estate agent buys from us for less than $50 and then they provide that as an incentive to homeowners to get an appraisal. It is rocket fuel.
Yeah. And there's so many ways that they can use those holidays too, isn't there? It's sort of.
Yeah, well, at least, I mean, you opened my eyes because you've been closer to the real estate industry than I have. So you opened my eyes in all the different ways that, they can use them, and they can use them not just to get appraisals. Obviously, that's a main usage because real estate agents want a bucket load of appraisals. I mean, we're talking about one agent out of Penrith in Sydney, a lovely guy. He just said to us, he was an LJ Hooker agent, and he just said, look, the first week that I actually put out my letterbox brochures, he picked up, I think it was 11 appraisals, and 5 of them turned into listings. So we're talking
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah,
That's amazing. So you're getting appraisals, you're building relationships, and you're feeling good at the same time.
yeah. Well, Lisa, I'd throw to you because you were saying to me, look, agents can also use them in a number of ways, and you've got the probably list in front of you. What would you recommend they could use them on top of appraisal?
Okay. Well, obviously referrals. If somebody gives them a referral, just gifts, happy birthday, Christmas, whatever it is, anniversaries. So when a property, congratulations, it's been 13 years since you purchased your property. So send out a letter to say congratulations, and you'd like to give them a free holiday, get them to contact you. You've got the one that I like the best is the sporting one. So instead of sponsoring a whole sporting oval or something like that, you can go down and see the coach and say that you'd like to give one of the children a free holiday on presentation day, and then go down on talk to the kids and say that that's what you're going to do. You're going to give them a holiday, whoever gets the coach's award or whatever. And the coach then has also got motivation to say you've got to stay at, got to come to training, you've got to try hard, all that sort of thing. Then on presentation day, present that child with a holiday, the one, the coach's award or whatever. And then on the Monday, and then all the other kids are going to obviously be upset because they didn't get it and the other kid did. On the Monday, give everybody a free holiday, give all the parents a free holiday, or all the kids a free holiday. So those parents are going to remember you. And as you said, for less than $50, you're going to get into that sporting team. Everybody's going to be upset or jealous that they weren't in that sporting team. That coach is going to look like and give the coach one as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can actually feel good about something, and even say getting a video testimonial to ring some people and say, you've bought through me or sold through me, whatever, and looking at updating my website. If you could please give me a video testimonial and give them a free holiday. I've got about 20 different ways that we can use them, and I find them absolutely incredible. The agents are just loving them. So what's your best idea? What do you think your best idea is, or your best marketing thing? I love the holidays, but I mean, apart from the holidays, what would you say your absolute number one thing in your life that you've just gone, that was brilliant? What would it be?
Before I answer that, Lisa, let me just say this to the I know that this will be probably watched mainly by agents, is that, when you have come across a game changer idea, the biggest fear that we all have is that someone's going to copy it quickly.
Yes.
And, when McDonald's had the Happy Meal, they had a free reign for a little while, but then Burger King or Hungry Jack's, whatever they call them here, came out with their version of it pretty quickly, and so too did the other fast food chains. When Woolworths came out with the petrol discounts, I used to be in the national marketing position for Woolworths. So therefore, petrol discounts, obviously I know quite a bit about, and the power of them. When we at Woolworths launched the petrol promotion, the 4 cents a litre, it was rocket fuel. Excuse the pun, but it was absolutely, it was just nuts, crazy. And we're all rubbing our hands going, this is just unbelievable. Guess what? Coles duplicated that within about 18 months. Took them 18 months, but they duplicated it, right? And as you guys know, when Jetstar has a sale, then Virgin will have a sale within an hour thereafter. So the biggest fear that we all have when you come across like the retirement package or the game changer is who's going to copy it. And what we've done for the real estate industry, as we've done with cafes and restaurants and any bricks and mortar business, is that we give you postcode exclusivity. So we give you a couple of postcodes for a number of months, whereby you've got it to yourself. So the real estate agent across the road, who you obviously hate, he or she will not be duplicating this in a hurry. So that's the beauty of this. And if you said to me, okay, what's the best idea that you've ever had? Look, there's been a bunch of them out there. We've had fuel discounts, we've given away, Disneyland trips. We've given away, $1 million draws, you name it. And I've touched on some of those today. This would have to be it, Lisa. I know that sounds really corny because, I'm on this interview with you. But But really, out of all of the incentives that I've used over the years to persuade people to buy something, then that's scratch. I've done all the scratch bingos for News Limited newspapers, did all of the scratch games for the likes of Blockbuster when they were around, and Westfield shopping centres and St George Lease Clubs, and all of these giveaways. This would easily be the best by a million miles, because why? We've just come out of COVID, where everybody's been locked up for a long time. There is no hotter Happy Meal toy on the planet than giving someone a free holiday.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's amazing. All right. Well, I want to have some more of these talks with you just about business ideas as I sort of go through this book more too. There's other things that I saw in there that I want to sort of delve into. So I want to do
Lisa, that's my small book. I've got another book.
I know you have. I want that one. I want the big one.
To give you an idea, the size does matter. That's the little one, and that's the big one. Right?
Bigger than your head. I know.
And I know I'm being a bit wankerish, but this one here is
love it.
The last 15 years of my career, of all the ideas that worked. I made sure I didn't put the ones in there that didn't work, because I don't have a 100% track record. But these are all the ones. These are all the ones that worked. And of course, towards the end of it, I do show off of a particular guy that I worked with for a while.
Yeah, with Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah. So is that book, can we get that book as well? I want to see that one. Have you got that one? Oh, that you've got online, don't you?
Yeah, so what we did, this book here, believe it or not, costs $420 to print. So it's got the gold edges and it's the whole
I love it. It's beautiful.
And when I was getting the artists to put this together, I said to them, look, it's Walt Disney meets Harry Potter at the Palazzo Versace. So that's why it looks like it does. But $420 a book, of course, is not sustainable to keep on pumping them out. So we've turned it into an online program where not only is the book online, but also every chapter in this book with the winning ideas, I do a video compile of as well. So, and that's been I'm going
to give a plug for myself. You do know I publish books for people too, don't you? We should get that book out.
Yeah, actually, of course you do. Of course, that's what your business or part of your business is. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I love doing books. Okay, so that's been worth it, hasn't it? Yeah. I'm selling to the salesman. No.
By the way, Lisa, so people always, when I do a lot of podcasts and stuff, because I'm really interesting. So
am I.
Yeah. And humility is my number one asset. Yeah. But I'm good. Just ask me. But before, you normally get that podcast question at the end. If you could tell your 21-year-old self something, what would it be? All that sort of stuff. And I normally say, look, hang around crazy people. Don't hang around normal people. Hang around people who say, why not? Instead of people who go, why? So I don't advise to hang around too many accountants or financial planners. But anyway, why? Why would you do that, Lisa? But they normally ask, look, what's a standout case study? And I know you've asked the question of a few of them, and I've showed off about some of the responses, but the simplicity wins all the time. Keep it simple. We used to live in a little country town in the Hunter Valley called Gloucester. Mm-hmm. And there was a lady in town who had a hairdressing salon, and she'd had the hairdressing salon forever, and a monopoly. There's no other hairdressing salon in the main street, right? And her name was Kimberly, and she asked Gail, my wife, look, could you ask John, if he's got any ideas? Because we've just had an opposition hairdresser open up across the road and has taken all our men customers. And Gail said, how did they take all the male customers? She said, well, I charge $40, $45 for a man's haircut. And as you know, women are $150, $200, but a men's haircut, $40, $45. And she said, this lady across the road has opened up a hair salon and promoted men's haircuts for $10. And she said, I don't know what to do, whether I've got to go at $9 or what to get all the men. I've lost all my men customers. And so Gail comes home and tells me this, and Kimberly was a friend, so I wanted to do the right thing, free of charge, of course. And I said, okay, leave it with me. Well, anyway, 2 days later, she got all the men's customers back because we put a sandwich board outside her shop, which said, we fix $10 haircuts.
I know that one to me is the best. That would be something I would do. I would have that sign. I would have flashing lights off it as well. I love things like that. And I bet you that other hairdresser smiled. I bet you they would have went, worthy opponent. You know what I mean?
Maybe. But, look, the only reason I show off about that one is because, no one has to pay me any consultancy fee or anything for that. And certainly I wouldn't have charged Kimberly because she was a friend. But sometimes it's just the simple ideas. Yeah. Which are the winners. And if you think about it, the simple idea of a real estate agent boasting over the fact that they've sold a home within 30 days, so why not consider him or her, giving someone a financial big prize opportunity, or giving someone a free holiday. They're all simple ideas.
Exactly. Love it. All righty. Thank you so much. And then we'll do part 2 soon. All
My
right.
pleasure.
And I'll put all the links to all of your books and website and everything as well. All
No
righty.
problem.
Thanks,
All the
Judy.
best. See you later.
Thank you.